Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Cody. I am a real estate technologist and the owner of the Systems Accelerator Manager. We affectionately call it SAM. This is the system that is replacing real estate CRMs. But today, what we're going to be doing, I'm actually going to be putting on my marketing hat. And I am going to be showcasing to you guys a bit of an example of how you can use SAM, even if you're not in real estate. And maybe it's going to give you guys an idea of some really unique ways that you could start building routines, which are modern workflow automations, into your business. Now, full context on this, I am helping out my little sister. She just started a baking business and has been very successful selling cakes for various events as well as weddings. And now she's moving into the pies market for the Thanksgiving season. So what we've done is we've set up an account for her inside of SAM, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a little bit of ChatGPT to help me write some copy and get some HTML, as well as using SAM to help stand up some of these automations for her. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, if you watch till the very end, I am going to give you guys a bit of a next step for how you could actually get free access to SAM for 14 days. You could dive into it and either A, you could start building out automations just like I'm building out for McKinsey, or B, maybe there's one that you would also like to have. So go ahead and stick till the very end for that. This is going to be a lot of fun because this is something that I actually really enjoy doing, helping people build systems, helping people stand up their businesses. And this time, because it's not in real estate, it's going to really help flex how SAM is able to do that. So let's go ahead and let's dive in. I want to go ahead and dive in by showcasing to you guys a little bit of groundwork that McKinsey and I did. Now, the other day, I was spending some time with her and we were talking through some of the things that she has done thus far that have been successful, as well as maybe some ideas for some follow-up processes that she would like to do. Now, this is kind of the standard historic way that we would go about thinking about automations. And because she has never used automations before, because she's never built any automations and doesn't really understand systems thinking yet, this is where I wanted to start. So I was talking through some of the processes that she has in her business currently. It seems as if she's grown a lot in her TikTok and her Instagram accounts. And so most of her business is coming from direct messages. And so what I wanted to do is figure out a way to take the work that she's already done with some of these customers and actually use that as a next step. Now, the ultimate goal, because she doesn't have any email information, she may have names and phone numbers, but we need to get some information into a database so that she can start using this to market to them in the future. So the very first thing I want to do up here on the top right-hand side is any folks that have used cakes or used her and purchased a cake before, we want them to now buy a pie, right? So what we're going to start off with is we are going to be building a DM that she can take and she could just send to all of these folks. Now, this is going to drive them forward. It's going to give them a next opportunity to work with her. And I think this is going to be a really powerful thing. Now, the event itself on the very bottom of the left-hand side is Thanksgiving. And so I want to actually think through an automation that is going to help her both on confirmation of an order being placed, that would be 0 days after, and we want to get them into SAM. We want to tag them appropriately, but then after that, we need to do some follow-up. Now, the big asterisk right here is there is a really tight turnaround that she is going to be coming up against because her very next opportunity to work with folks is going to be Christmas. So we need to be a little strategic about when someone orders, how we can go ahead and start marketing to them for Christmas. And if someone is not interested in Thanksgiving, how we can kind of tease out that, hey, the next time you could work with me will be Christmas. This is going to be what we're doing. So we can start segmenting any audience members that we have. Now, this is going to be a little bit more difficult because anyone we get into the database at this point is actually going to be a customer for the Thanksgiving event. So this is kind of our ground level moment. where we're actually pulling leads and putting them into a database, which is a really great place to start. Sam's going to be able to help with that excellently, right? So we need to think through a follow-up process that can do a couple of things. So after, I want to share a little bit about her and start making sure that they understand who she is, why she's doing this, and really just gain a little bit of social trust. After that, I want to have an open invite for them to share about their experiences, maybe send photos of the pie at Thanksgiving. And I think that this is going to be really powerful for getting us some social proof that we can use on our website later. People love sharing about stuff. And this is also going to help her social media go and get a little bit bigger as people are posting about these pies. They're tagging her in these. So this is a really good process. Now, this doesn't just work for Thanksgiving. It's going to work over lots of different events, but this is going to be our maiden voyage, if you will, of the Mayflower. And then after that, I want to start teasing out some of the different events that she has coming up. Now, we are planning for the next event to be some sort of Christmas event. When I was working with her, I tossed out a couple of ideas. Either A, she could take her background in pastry and she could use that to build out some Christmas pastries. And maybe she offers, very similar to something that she did last Valentine's Day, little boxes that come with different pastries. Or maybe she focuses in on some sort of date night couples event. Now, something that I told her from a marketing standpoint, this comes from IKEA. Now, IKEA, I have heard from a video, couldn't source it if you asked me to, so I do apologize for this, but it's a really interesting insight. IKEA said that the value in having someone build out the piece of furniture actually makes us perceive it as more valuable, more luxurious. So there's a value to them in keeping all of these pieces of furniture flat packed because storage is much easier. They don't have to pay to actually build it themselves. And when you buy a piece of furniture from IKEA, and if you can successfully build it without fighting with your significant other or spouse, you're going to feel like this is the best piece of furniture ever, even if it is an entry-level piece of furniture. So my idea to her was taking this little concept and applying it broadly. So I suggested, hey, why don't we make cookies? Now, we could position this as Santa's cookies, and maybe it's a pack of 2, and you can buy multiple packs, so we can make it inexpensive and easy to handle on her part. She would be able to mass produce cookie dough, and she could offer it in 2 forms. Either A, they come just as cookie dough, and that is where you are building it yourself, or she's giving instructions on how to bake them, and maybe they come with some icing kits that she's pre-built so that you can also ice your Santa cookies. That's kind of fun, right? The other way that she could do it is she could just sell them as ready-to-go objects. Now, that's my idea for Christmas. We could go a lot of different ways, but for now, we are just thinking through strategically what are some of the things that we could do. And then after that, I want to drive a, hey, thanks, how'd it go? We're looking for social proof. We're looking for engagement from these folks. The more we can start to build a strong relationship with them, the more likely they are to share about us and to help her business grow. So this is a really powerful way to do that. Now, at the very end of that, we need to think about, gosh, what one of my mentors said, his name is Russell Brunson, he said, what is the logical next step? So just like Christmas is the logical next step, next event for Thanksgiving to Christmas, what's the logical next step for Christmas? Well, maybe it's New Year's. That's a really tight turnaround. Maybe that's not it. Maybe it is, in fact, just waiting until Valentine's Day. And so we can start to condition our customers to look forward to the different events that we have. So as we do this, we can start to build out our database. We can start to create automations. We can start to collect our customers' feedback and information, and we can use that as social proof to help drive our social media. We can encourage them to share about their experiences. That's going to send us out to a broader audience. And then the last thing that I am wanting to do is actually have some sort of newsletter that we can create. Now, this could be a newsletter that shares lots of different things. Right now, Mackenzie is working on a cookbook, so maybe she starts sharing little recipes here and there. That's pretty cool. Maybe she starts sharing about season drop alerts. You know, you get first dibs on the alerts for what I'm going to be dropping next as far as events go. That could be really cool. And maybe the idea of news on the launch of her book, or maybe we're just like spotlighting some of the work she's done. Now, her primary business and her major focus is driving her cake business. She builds cakes for lots of events. She builds cakes for weddings. And so being able to drive that forward is going to be really important. That's her core product. So all of these events can be used kind of as lead magnets, if you will, that are going to create repeat referral pipelines, and they're going to be driving customers to that cake business, because as they remember, oh gosh, I worked with Mackenzie, her pie was incredible, I bet you her cakes are even better. Now we have a pipeline. Now that we have this understood, I want to showcase to you a couple of things. So the very first thing, what I did was I went to Mackenzie's website, Sweet Treat 417. And if you are in the Springfield, Missouri area and you want a pie for Thanksgiving, this would be my biggest recommendation, is absolutely go pick up a pie. Look how great these are. These are her sample pies. And she is a fantastic pastry chef. She's been doing this for years, and she's so talented. So I went ahead and I pulled this up. Now, the reason I pulled this up is actually because I need to go to the About section and I need to do a couple of things. So the first thing I need to do is I need to copy this. We're actually going to get back to this ChatGPT piece in a second. So now I'm inside of her brand new SAM account. Now, if you do not yet have a SAM account, and if you have not yet taken a 14-day free trial, here's my first little plug. You can visit sam.workflowsecrets.info, click the sign up button, and you can get 14 days inside the system completely free. And you can actually start building out some of these pieces just like I am for Mackenzie. So this is going to be really cool. You're going to see how we can use automations inside our business and how we can start to build stronger relationships, and how Sam's going to enable this. Now, we are primarily focused on helping real estate agents, but you are going to see how this is broadly applicable to lots of different types of businesses. So we're going to be helping Mackenzie today with her baking business. I actually use Sam for my business, which is real estate technology, selling Sam. And so you are going to have a really good case study of how this is. So visit sam.workflowsecrets.info, click the sign up button, fill out a little bit of information. You'll get 14 days free. You can actually follow along right now. So now that we have that done, we're actually going to go to the top right-hand side, and I want to do a couple of things. This is one of the most important things. So I clicked on her initials, and from the drop down, I went to the profile section. Now, in the profile section, this is going to be how we fine-tune Sam to us. So typically speaking, you would share some information about your broker, about your company, and then about your team member. Now, we could actually add some info about Mackenzie's company. Maybe we'll dive into that a little bit later. What I want to do specifically is go into her team member. And then I click on the account owner, just the Mackenzie, and you'll see that here is her account information. Now, from here, the very first thing I want to do, since we're creating marketing content for her, is I actually want to add a member voice. Now, a member voice inside of Sam is just a fancy way of saying, how do you write? How do you speak? And the power in nailing this is when we're able to match the tone of how she speaks, we can actually use this in our marketing. And then when people meet her in person, they're not going to say, a little different. So being able to do this is going to be really powerful. You could go and you could check all of these things, but if you notice, I actually copy pasted her About Me section, and that is because I just want a writing sample from her. It's actually going to analyze the content, and then from there, it's going to pre-build all of the pieces from her. So she's empathetic, engaging, friendly, inspirational. And we could even go and we could figure out if we want to add any additional attributes to her in her member voice. Adding a couple of additional ones. This is my personal preference as far as giving her full context. Again, Sam analyzed it, and based on that writing sample, it picked the ones that fit the best. I'm just adding a couple more. So now that we have that, the other thing that I would love to do is add member niche. Now, the member niche is just a fancy way of saying, who do you like to work with? What kind of people just make your day a little bit brighter when you get to work with them? These are your dream customers. That's your niche. Now, you might have several different ones. And in this case, Mackenzie does have several different ones. So she has several different niches: personalized cakes, wedding cakes, sweet treats, and pies. There's probably lots of other things. I suppose we could add cookies as well. So from here, we have now identified what her voice is, what her focus is. Now we can just fill out some additional information. So now I feel really good about how we've been able to customize her actual profile. And now we can go ahead and start doing some things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our template section, because what I want to do is start writing some of our marketing pieces. So now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up ChatGPT, and we are going to work inside that system. So here's what I've done. I actually have a custom ChatGPT agent I call the Systems Accelerator Manager. Now, it has full context of myself, my business, and Sam. And so I'm going to use it because it is going to understand Sam, and it's going to be able to help me the most. And what I've gone ahead and done is in the prompt, I explained, hey, I'm helping my sister. I shared the about me, so it also has some context. I shared the website, and then I shared a just copy paste of all of the different pies she has, so that it has some understanding of some of the details that we've looked over. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add that image that we just looked at. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this, and I'm going to let ChatGPT just start with some context. Now, this is traditionally when we are building out events or creating things. This is what I do for Workflow Secrets. And we actually had a systems builder event recently. I built all of our marketing inside of ChatGPT. The value in this is it's able to create HTML really powerfully. Then I took it, I put it into Sam, and I used Sam to adapt the messages to my writing style. I would throw it back into ChatGPT. I would have it review the HTML. And then once it was all ready to go, I would save those, and then I could put them into those routine automations. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing here. So phase one, re-engage past clients via social. So what I'm going to do, this one is pretty easy because we actually only need to realistically create this once. So it's going to be for a contact, and we are going to name the title of it. This is just going to help us find it later. Instagram DM for Mackenzie. Now, this message specifically is an email-based message. So my intention is that I'm going to make this as easy as possible for Mackenzie to be able to grab. Now, the easiest way for that is it's just going to get emailed to her. And from there, she'll be able to copy it, throw it into Instagram, and we can go from there. All right. So here is just a cut and dry blank hey name. She would go and she would fill that in. Now, I have a personal soapbox on merge fields. 90% of the time, this is going to be what you get from a company, and they think that this is super custom. And let's be honest, it's not. If you're just filling out hey and then first name, it's not custom, it's not special to them. And if you think it's personalized, it's really not. We can talk a little bit later about how you can actually personalize things inside of SAM using the AI and the understanding from the databases. I also have lots of videos specifically on this topic. But I just want to put a little pin in that because this is something that a lot of business builders get wrong. And what it is actually doing is it's driving folks away. Let's go ahead and we're going to leave this for now because she is going to be copy pasting it So hey, name, it's Mackenzie from Sweet Treat 417. Now, this is why we want to proofread all of our things, because ChatGPT didn't give perfect context of it. I wanted to say thank you again for supporting me in the past, whether it was a custom cake or something sweet for your event. I'm so grateful to have been part of it. I'm doing something fun for Thanksgiving this year with my handmade pies, apple, pumpkin, pecan, and a few samplers. If you're interested in pre-ordering or just want to see what's new, I'd love to share the link. Also, if you've ever wanted to stay in the loop on new releases, I'm starting a sweet little email list. Let me know and I'll make sure you're on it. This is a pretty low friction call to action. What I would do is I would say, let me know what email to send this to, and I'll make sure you're on it. That's a little bit more specific. There is an old saying, a confused mind says no. And so we want to make sure that we aren't confusing them. Hey, send me your best email. I'll add you to it. And here's where I'm going to take the opportunity and really milk it, right? So now that we have that piece built out, what I would like to do now is start creating a couple of the messages. But let's go back to ChatGPT. Let's look at what it's suggesting. So we're going to build a routine. It's going to use the core strategies framework. Now, core strategies is an acronym, and it comes from Mark and his teaching philosophy when he's working with real estate agents. And it stands for conversions, operations, retentions, and experiences. Let's break that down. Conversions is all about bringing leads into your business. Operations is all about how we handle them while we're working with them, making them go from leads to customers. And then retentions is after the transaction is done, either from the home purchase or sale, or when they buy a pie. And the experiences kind of interweave in between all three of these to make sure that you are creating what we like to call a world-class client experience. That's what the core strategies is. Like I said, this specific GPT has full context of SAM and our business. So we've seeded into it. We've given it information about all of our teaching philosophies so it can also apply those. So the routine triggers when a new pie order, and the contact is then added to the CRM piece of SAM. And then anyone who orders a Thanksgiving pie, instead of building another template, I'm going to go into the setup. Now, in the setup, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the menu options. The first thing I want to do, however, is go to manage date fields. And in the manage date fields, I can actually build custom fields. Now, this was something that Mark and I were really keen to add into SAM because some of the projects we've worked at before, I've worked in customer support. He's actually been on the engineering side. And when someone needed a new field, they would submit a support ticket, and then we would take that ticket and we'd submit it to the engineering team. And if they were free, maybe it got done, but more than likely it would take a couple of weeks. While that's happening, our agent customers were just having to twiddle their thumbs and wait for it to get done. That's absolutely absurd. We've given you guys, the users of SAM, the ability to create your own fields. So you can do that by adding date field, create custom date field. So I'm going to trigger that. It's going to always show it. It's going to be date time. Now we could choose date only. I don't know that the time is as important. So I think I'm just going to leave it as a date only. I did select that it always shows. Save button is going to save that. Let's go ahead and pull ChatGPT up so that I can refresh what I was thinking about. Perfect. New pie ordered. That's what that pie field is going to be for. And the contact is added into the CRM. When a contact is added into SAM, this is just a test. We can go into these important dates. Now, on entry, they're going to have the entry date added, but there's all of these important dates. Look at these important dates. Now, some of these you probably won't need, and that's totally fine. You could go back to that area that we were just in. You could remove these if you didn't want them. And if you ever needed them back, you could find them back. Not a big deal. But what we have added was the custom cake ordered and the Thanksgiving order. So when I fill this in, or when they come into the system, I can set it so it gets automatically filled in. That is when these routines trigger. So workflow automations, traditionally you have had to go and you've had to do something like this. You go to a specific tab and You have to identify what routine you want to start, and then you have to start it manually. And then maybe even if it is automatic, you still had to go about looking at all of the different pieces. Well, you don't really need to do that in SAM. And automation should predominantly start automatically. And so that's how we built these. We're taking each of the steps inside a workflow automation, which sometimes are hundreds of steps. We bite-sized it. So conceptually, that is how routines work inside of SAM. And then you can actually build out routine workflows, which is part of that launch event that I was talking about. And that can be a workflow, which is hundreds of different activities that are sequentially focused based on those important dates. We'll dive into it in just a second, but we are going to go to our routines list and we are going to create a blank routine. So just like I said, we could start a routine workflow. It's a workflow of multiple steps. We'd also start one-off routines. We are going to go Thanksgiving pie ordered, and on the details of this specific routine, it's going to be for the contacts. Now, if you work in real estate, you also have access to properties, listings, and transactions. We have some that have an additional field in the properties CRM that is called projects. So if you do design, build, or fix and flips, that is part of the projects. And if you're watching this and you go, I want access to the projects database, just reach out to us, Cody at workflowsecrets.info or help@workflowsecrets.info. We can totally switch that on for you. Not a big deal. But for this one, we're going to go for contacts, and we are going to look for the Thanksgiving pie order. So what this means now is when this important date that we just built in gets added, when a new contact comes in, it gets filled in, this is going to be the automation that gets triggered. Now, there's a couple of ways that we can handle this. We could add routine activities manually, and we could actually build this out. Now, I'm not saying that I don't want to do that. In fact, that's probably what I'm going to do. But before we get too far, we could actually let Sam build it. So here we could explain what we are hoping to accomplish. And then we could actually let Sam do that. So I kind of want to see what Sam would be able to do. And let's do that by looking at all of these steps. All right, so I went ahead and I plugged back what it is identifying, and it's going to create the prompt for me. How cool is that? Oh, here's what we're going to do. No. Forget what I was thinking. We're going to copy all of this. So the really powerful thing about letting Sam build it is it can absolutely create all of these steps. And I'm going to let Sam enhance it. Let's make sure that Sam understands the format and that it's looking well. But this is full context, full tilt, we're ready to go. So now what Sam is doing is it's thinking through everything I shared, and it's actually building out the steps that it would like to execute. So step one would be express gratitude immediately. Upon order placed, send an immediate email and SMS to thank the customer, confirming details and encourage communication for questions. I'm just adding a little bit of context. Again, a confused mind says no. I really want to help Mackenzie drive that social piece forward. So that's what we're going to do. Personalized introduction to Mackenzie. Send an email 1 to 2 days after step one. Mackenzie's personal story. Candid photo, inviting engagement. The tone should be personal. And then I'm actually going to go back to her website and re-grab her bio, this little about me. So even though it was shared, Sam didn't actually keep that writing sample. So we do need to restate that. There is an area in which we could add that, and Sam would be able to gather context that would be in the contact under the personal details. But we are just going to add that in right here. Now, this is a really powerful piece in when we're actually building these routines is reviewing them. This is one of those areas that you guys probably don't see all that often on our videos because we're using samples. So we just kind of skip through all of this. But reviewing the different pieces is going to be really powerful. Email survey 2 days post Thanksgiving or 5 days after order. I don't actually think that we need this step, collect for pie survey. We can build landing pages for this piece. Maybe we don't need to for now. Let's go ahead and let's omit that one. Maybe we come back to it. Maybe that's something that we add in a little bit later. We can actually easily add that into the routine. We haven't really discussed what she's going to do. I imagine it's something like that. And so we can just start there. if we need to, when she's actually executing on this, we can go back and we can adjust all of these different pieces. So let's review. We're expressing gratitude immediately. We're personally introducing Mackenzie and kind of allowing them to understand who she is. And then after we've done that, we're building anticipation for the next event. So this is a really great follow-up. This is going to be really powerful for turning over with such a tight timeline. So we're going to go ahead, approve, and build. Now, on that third email, because it's starting to tease at Christmas, what we can do is we can evaluate how folks like that. Maybe we build out a landing page where they can suggest what they would like, and we actually do implement that survey piece. Or maybe she just decides what she wants to do, and we actually allow the email copy to be adjusted so that it really focuses in on exactly what she's doing. But either way, this is going to think through all of the steps. It's going to look at all of the objectives that we've created, those prompts, and then it's going to start building it. And as you can see, it's built out all of the steps already. Now it's actually creating the template. So this is really cool because it's writing all of the emails for us. And because at the very beginning, I filled in that information in the profile section, these are all going to be custom written to Mackenzie. So it's going to match her writing style and tone, which is going to be a better way for us to actually create a personal approach to this. So this is really cool. And as you can tell, Sam is building these out super quickly. This is something that if I were to do this manually, I probably would spend 15 to 20 minutes on each of these steps. And so we're looking at maybe an hour that it just accomplished in literally a couple of minutes. And that is the power of using Sam to help. Now that I have saved arguably an hour, maybe I take the next 20 minutes and I actually start tweaking all of these messages. Well, okay, I've saved 40 minutes. What can I do with 40 minutes in my life? Well, maybe I make another training. Maybe I go call a customer. There's lots and lots of things. So this is going to be a really base level routine, but it's going to be really powerful. So first, what we're going to do, one day after the Thanksgiving pie order, this is going to trigger. So we fill in the pie order important date. It starts the automation. One day after that, we are going to have this trigger. Now, I'm going to set this for daily processing. You know, actually, 8 a.m. feels a little aggressive. So let's go ahead and go 9:45 feels a little bit more manageable. And it's going to ask me, this is mid-morning. So this is another area where traditionally from previous projects, we've actually only been able to send things out at 8 a.m. And a lot of companies fall into this trap with their systems because they can only ever send it at 8 a.m. Well, you should be able to choose when you want to send it. So you can build out lots of different processing times for when you'd want to send it. You know, I said 9:45, but 9:44 is actually kind of fun because it's not perfect. It's going to feel a little bit more human. That's just like a personal feeling of mine. So after that, I'm going to just give it a little color. This is going to be for the calendar section. And then it's going to be assigned to Mackenzie, send personalized intro email. So the first thing I'm going to do is select for automatic processing. Now that's a really fancy, really confusing way of saying, hey, I would like Sam to just send this for me. I don't want to have to manually send them. And then we are going to send that personal introduction email. So Sam wrote this for me. Let's go ahead and click into the template and let's see what it says. This is going to be where we spend probably the last big chunk of our time is actually editing things. So contact greeting is a valid merge field that we could use, but I actually want to use contact first name. I'm going to add a little bit of nuance. Hey, contact first name. Again, this is probably what every single company you've ever worked with considers personalized. It's very much not. This is just like the standard entry level groundwork. You should at least add their name. The reason people add names is because people say like, oh, saying someone's name is the sweetest thing to a person's ear. It's probably true, but it's kind of being hijacked by business in a weird way. So I hope this message finds you well. That's super formal. I don't know that we need it. I want to take a moment and thank you for my order and to share a little bit about my journey and the heart behind 417 Sweet Treat. Growing up in Springfield, Missouri, I was always fascinated by the art of baking. Grew up the child of a mom who loved to bake, the grandchild and great grandchild of grandmas who had a southern flair for making food that was always full of love. From the first pie I baked with my grandma to the intricate wedding cakes I now create weekly to help some really incredible people create really special moments for their life. What I'm doing right here is I'm just making her akin to these people. I'm kind of complimenting them as they read. The likelihood is that they've worked with her before. I want it to sound nice. Every day, our goal is to turn sweet dreams into reality with personalized cakes and treats crafted with love and the finest ingredients. What I'm trying to articulate here is like, hey, we're doing things differently. And I'll see if she likes that. All right, let's see if we can't find a good photo of her. Maybe there's one of her actually in action. All right, so now we have this photo of her. I think it's a great photo. And what we are going to do is we are just going to hop back into SAM. And then from here, we can just add that photo. Now, what we could do in the future is we could integrate with Dub, which is an integration inside of SAM. Maybe she makes a little quick video of it and it's like, hey, thank you so much. She re-articulates what she's sharing here. Maybe she dives into some additional context, but we're just going to use a photo for now. Now that you know a little bit about me, I consider us besties, bestie, and that is going to be how I lead into the call to action. What I was really hoping for is like a hard-hitting drive. All right, so this is probably a little bit of a stronger call to action. Now that you know a little bit about me, I consider us besties, bestie. I would love for you to do me a solid. Once you have your pie, take some photos that you're gathering and share on social. And if you want to win Bestie of the Year award for 2 years in a row, again, a little cheeky, reply to this email or share on social how the pie was, how it made your event even more special, what your favorite was if you grabbed a few. This helps me grow, reach a bigger audience, and continue to make my dream into a profession. This is kind of a tagged outro. And I'm not a big fan of the best or the warm regards. And then this is the signature. Now, what I think we should do is take this and insert merge fields just to the left, the right of that. We actually have a custom signature field. Now, it pre-built it using her information from that profile, but we will just paste this in and we will save it. Now, what this will do is now, instead of having to add this each time, we can actually just use this merge field that is hiding behind the Dub icon, but it's right here. And that will pull that information each and every time. It's another one of those merge fields that are pretty standard. So from here, now I have this built out. Formatting actually looks pretty solid on this, so that's not too big of a deal. All right, so now let's go, and now I feel really good about this first email. What's going to happen is one day after the Thanksgiving pie is ordered, we're going to share all about Mackenzie, and they're going to get to learn about her. We're using that call to action that's saying, hey, at your event, just like take some photos, share how it's going, and help me grow. It has a little bit of a personal touch to it. What I will do is I'll turn this over to her, and she can rewrite everything. And so she'll probably laugh at me because I have a marketing brain and she probably doesn't talk like that. I have probably warped a little bit of that. And so she'll infuse her personal self into that one, and then we'll be in good shape. But what it has inside of it are all of the components that we need to akin any audience to her, as well as use a call to action for them to actually do something to help her grow. And so that's really cool. Once we have that, let's go ahead and dive into our building anticipation. So this is going to happen 3 days after. So our first message is 1 day after. So basically another 2 days after. And we could send it at that mid-morning again. I think that that's perfectly fine. And let's add a little bit of color to it. Again, these just help us see it a little bit better on the calendar. So this is going to send an anticipation meeting. Again, select for automatic processing. So Sam can send it on our behalf. No need for us to send this manually. And then announce the exclusives, right? So now that we have given them confirmation of the order, we've welcomed and introduced ourselves. We need to tease out this. Now, because the timeline is so tight, we want to do this quickly. And so maybe this is even before the event has happened. This is probably before they actually have the pie. But what it's going to do is it's going to lay the foundations, right? So the holiday season is upon us, and we're thrilled to announce a special Christmas menu at Sweet Treats. We're going to open up with a little pleasantry. I want to thank you so very much for all the love and support. The holiday season is upon us. I'm thrilled. We're thrilled. I'm going to humanize her a little bit. I'm thrilled to announce a very special Christmas menu at 417. Sweetness to your celebration. We're going to keep it branded, right? Imagine indulging in a rich Christmas cake, festive cookie, or a signature pie, just like the ones we had available during Thanksgiving. Everyone gets a taste. This one sure no one goes without. Okay, so here's what I'm going to be doing. I'm creating a wait list that they can sign up for off of her website. This is linked to her website. What we might do is build out a lead form that drives straight into SAM. So as they sign up for the wait list, it adds them to SAM. We can then create a routine later that will send out the sneak peek once we decide what she's going to do. And then I'm adding a little bit of tongue in cheek. It's Christmas season, so you'll be added to the nice list and will receive the sneak peek. So basically, signing up is the way in which that they get that sneak peek. So they have to trade their details. This becomes a lead magnet. They have to trade their details so that they can get access to the actual Christmas sneak peek. So this is going to also ensure that anyone who signs up is an engaged lead, which is a fancy way of saying they're really interested in working with McKinsey. And in doing that, that's going to help kind of cull the wheat from the chaff, if you will. And then it pre-built that, but our signature covers that. So that is excellent. Now, what I think that I would like to add on top of this is even more of a tease on what we are going to be offering. So on the heels of a successful Thanksgiving drop, are among the first to experience our festive flavors before supplies run out. It helps me ensure no treats are wasted or stale before Santa has his pick. I've made it as easy as possible. All you need to do is visit our website here, sign up for the pre-order waitlist, and once you're on this, you'll receive a sneak peek at what we have in store for Christmas. So what this is going to do for us is this is actually going to tease them a little bit more. All right, feel good about this one. So what this does is it drives us forward. It teases the event. We have a good call to action. It's driving us to the website. We probably build a lead form and then we'll just replace the URLs. And after that, they are in good shape. All right, so I think we kind of understand what's going on here. Now, you might notice that the screen changed just now. I actually realized that something was afoot, and so let's just call attention to it. This express gratitude immediately was set to start date. So 0 days after start date. I don't know that we want that. What that means is when the routine starts, it would happen. But it's actually going to start on the Thanksgiving order. So that to me seems silly. Now, from here, we probably can just move it down to the daily processing. What that will do is that'll ensure that if it was past due, it gets triggered. And I can't imagine anyone is going to be sending anything super crazy. So 0 days after Thanksgiving, it's going to start. And this is actually the first email. So the email that I thought was first when we were going through those was actually the second email. So it's going to go immediately, and then 1 day later, and then a pause, and then 3 days. So 2 days after, right? I did change the color. That's the way it looked, but I did, in adjusting it from start date to Thanksgiving date, do that, and it reordered in the list. So that's what's going on here. So from here, Sam is going to send a thank you email, and we do want to select for automatic processing again. That's going to ensure that it sends it out. And what this is doing is it's just doing an order confirmation / pickup delivery details. Now, again, I'm going to adjust the merge field to the contact first name and thank you for your recent order with 470 Sweet Treats. We are thrilled to be a part of your gathering and appreciate your trust in us to provide delightful treats. Order is confirmed and will be ready for pickup delivery on the scheduled date. If you have any questions, you need to make changes to your order, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reply to this email or contact me at 417 Sweet Treat. So this is pretty standard. This is just a confirmation email. Now, I will note she does have a confirmation that's tied into the order mechanism on her website. So I don't know that we will actually need this. This might be one of those that we end up deleting, but it could use or could serve as a secondary confirmation. We'll go ahead and save that. Now, from here, we also have a thank you SMS. The template is trying to do is predefine some merge fields, and we actually could set up custom merge fields that would allow us to do that. And I believe I have some custom. I wouldn't have them in this account though. We could set up so that the date pickup delivery as well as preferred address is indicated so that they can see that. Though we don't have that set up, maybe we'll deal with that later. And to be honest, I don't know that I actually want to keep this. So I probably will just go over here. I'm going to delete this, and we're going to use this template that we have for the thank you email. We're going to just create a SMS for it. What's happening here is Sam is actually creating this using an integration with one of the LLMs, the AI systems. So sometimes they get a little hairy with that kind of stuff. So it's Mackenzie from Sweet Treat 417. Thank you for your past support. I'm offering handmade Thanksgiving pies. Interested in pre-ordering? Also, let me know when to join. That's actually not what we are sharing here. So that's really interesting. So I'm basically saying, hey, write this in the text message format. The thing about text messages, I don't know about you, but I've received some really garbage text messages that you can tell were supposed to be emails. So you really do want to make sure that they actually look like text messages. So now let's go ahead and let's review the actual process. So this one's pretty simple. And what we were able to accomplish inside of it is just base level event follow-up, post order. What we're doing is we're immediately expressing gratitude. We're saying confirmation. They're the next day going to get to meet Mackenzie and actually understand what she's going to be able to do. And then 3 days after, we are going to start teasing out the holiday event. Now, what we could do from here is, like I said earlier, you could actually add different activities. And inside those activities, we could pre-build them all out. We could add more actions. So maybe we have our holiday teaser, just continuing to tease out, hey, there's a holiday event. And we can continue to build some excitement, some engagement. Maybe we share some of the stories from the folks who actually ordered pies. And we start building out a nurturing experience. Now, the last thing that I want to kind of showcase to you guys, this is like aside from what Mackenzie needs in this moment, but we do have this assigned to work. So I was talking to you guys about how we have routines and we have routine workflows, right? So we could actually build out a workflow for this. So in doing so, we can assign this specific one to it. Now, over here on this left-hand side, all of our routines would just filter under each other, kind of like how these are stacked. Each new routine would stack on itself. So you can actually shift to your workflows and you can see the Thanksgiving workflow. Maybe we add our Thanksgiving pie order, and then we have our Christmas pre-event teasers. Those go into the Thanksgiving event as it spills. And then we build a different event for Christmas. We could take this Thanksgiving pie order, we can adapt it to actually fit what we are hoping to, and just be adjusting the copy so that it reads a little bit differently, so that they're not like, hey, I already received this message, but it's still giving them a really great experience. So that is what we would do. Now, the last thing that I need to do on this specific routine is set this to active. So now, anytime someone comes in and that Thanksgiving pie order happens, anytime a new contact, this would immediately trigger. And what I would encourage you to do is go ahead and go into your contact section, go ahead and create a new contact, or go to your contact. And in that contact, go to that important days, you can actually click that Thanksgiving order and then set that date. Now, because I have the routine set to active, because I filled in this, what it's going to do is it's going to start that routine. Boom. So see how that automatically started it? That's exactly what I was talking about. Now from here, we can click into it and we can see that Thursday, the 28th of October, that's today, it would trigger. Because it is past due, it's almost 2 o'clock, it's almost 1 o'clock, it will start to send. I need an email on this test contact, and then it would just start to send all those things out. Now, if I don't have an email, if I don't have some sort of email system set up inside of SAM, we'll address that just now. Going up into the top right-hand side, go to integrations, and we integrate with a lot of email services, whether it's Google, Outlook. You can also integrate with SendGrid. We also can integrate with MailChimp if you want to do large sends. So there's lots of options for that. Because she is using a Gmail, what we will do is we will set up her Google. I'll make sure that she gets all of that set up. Then Sam will be able to send out messages using Gmail on her behalf because she has added that integration piece in. So that's how those messages, once you have a contact with an email, would go. You can go and test that, make sure it's working, and then you'd be good to go. So that is my first routine. That is how I have built out this experience for Mackenzie for her Pi Day. And now all we have to do is run the play, which is really cool. Now, the excellent opportunity in this is that we are helping move the needle for her business. We are preparing for the next event, that logical next step. And we're doing all of this inside of SAM. Now, here is that point that I was talking to you a little bit earlier about. Mackenzie is a baker, and you're probably in real estate if you found this. And guess what? SAM is built for pretty well anyone. Now, we focus primarily with real estate agents because we have 35 years of experience between Mark, 35-year vet, and then myself. I've spent the last half decade in real estate technology. Mark has built 2 of the most used real estate CRMs, and we get the opportunity to do this kind of work for agents and teams all across North America pretty well every day. And this is a really cool part. So this training hopefully was enjoyable. Maybe it started to spark some ideas for you, but this is the kind of stuff that we do when you would hire us for the co-pilot program. It's a one-on-one concierge program. You enroll, and for your investment in the enrollment, you spend 8 weeks with us. We actually help you set up your systems. And in doing that, you walk away not only with full understanding of how to use SAM, but you have all of your systems set up so that you can start being extra successful. And that's exactly what you could get. But I want to actually take a step back, and I want to offer up the opportunity one more time for you to sign up for a 14-day free trial. It's a trial on me. There's no obligations. All you would have to do is visit sam.workflowsecrets.info, click the sign up button, fill out your information, and boom, you could be off to the races. Now from there, I will start sending you emails each and every day. And inside of that, there is a little challenge. And if you complete that challenge in the first 5 days of your trial, you would actually win what we call a co-pilot light. So I took that 8-week experience and I actually shrunk it down into 2 weeks of really value pack. We go through your biggest bottleneck and we actually address it, and we build those systems for you. And that's exactly what you would be able to win if you were to complete the challenge during the first 5 days. So go ahead and visit sam.workflowsecrets.info, get signed up, spend 14 days, take on the challenge. Then I will see you in your very own co-pilot light. But other than that, I hope you've had a really great time watching this video and learning about Mackenzie. If you are in the Springfield area and you are interested in a little sweet treat, I cannot recommend Mackenzie more. She is one of the best bakers I have ever met, and she's my family, so that's really cool too. But until then, I will see you next time.